promised in some former videos and a couple of comments I've made responding to folks here is my video regarding the 607 date. I found a site online which is an apologist's view of the 607 date. I'm putting the address in the more information section of this video. Please feel free to go through that site and read up on the subject, as I find it quite fascinating. The website address is going to be here or there or there. I'm really bad at the coordination between where more information is versus where I'm filming. Sorry about that. This site that I'm putting in the more information section has many chapters in it. Firstly, I'm going to suggest reading the introduction, which explains why 607 is so important, because it's the foundation of the calculation of the date 1914. Now, also Chapter 1 deals with why the date is in dispute. Also, definitely take a look at Chapter 3, which shows where the starting point was gathered from, and then I really suggest you read the concluding chapter. In reading this site, the biggest thing I find is a fallacy which I discussed in one of my videos, Tough Question number 41, which is argument by selective observation, or cherry-picking the evidence. This is where you take all the hits and forget all the misses. Here's how this fits. The main argument in this site is that 607 is the only year that fits because it makes many prophecies fulfill in the Bible. One of the biggest in mind here is the 70 years of servitude to Babylon. The Jews returned to Jerusalem in 537 BCE. It is said on this site this is known because the Bible tells us so. So my first question after reading that was, where does the Bible use the year 537 BCE as the year the Jews returned to Jerusalem? So how is 537 BCE found? The answer is through archaeology. Archaeologists studied the rule of the various kings of Babylon and pinpointed the year the Jews returned to Jerusalem. This is backed up by other archaeological findings in Jerusalem and the outlying cities. 587 being found as the fall of Jerusalem is backed in the same way as the 537 BCE date. There are no special biblical circumstances surrounding finding the 537 date. There were no more accurate methods. The same methods were used to find both dates. So the question is, why can one date be unequivocally correct and the other date needs to be thrown out? If you're accepting one archaeological finding, why can't you accept the other? Now, I cannot stress enough to you how much you need to take a look at the concluding chapter here. It literally has a list of prophecies directly from the Bible which, using the archaeologically found date as 537 as the date Jews returned to Jerusalem, are incorrect if the other date, using the same methods that found that 537 BCE date, 587 as the fall of Jerusalem, fail. I just want to give my personal feelings here on the final chapter, just based on my question. Personally, I cannot see how one date found with the exact same method as another date can be correct without accepting the other one. I fail to see how faith and prophecy cannot simply be shattered here based on how many prophecies from the Bible are basically disproven simply by accepting a date. Now, away from my personal thoughts to finish up this video real quick. Here, after the logical fallacy is given of cherry-picking the evidence, is that the only reason even the writer of this site believes the 607 date is because the Bible has to be right. The prophecies must be fulfilled, even if it means throwing out archaeological evidence that says otherwise. To end with an illustration, your mother tells you that a man murdered your father. When you go to court to testify to what your mother told you, you're presented with DNA of your mother on the murder weapon. You're presented with hair samples of your mother's at the scene of the crime. You're presented with a bloody fingerprint of your mother's at the scene of the crime, and even a videotape showing your mother leaving the scene of the crime. But your mother told you another man killed your father. She has to be right. Right? Do you throw out all this scientific evidence and believe your mother on this situation based on her word alone? Or do you throw out all the scientific evidence so that your mother can be right? So in this situation, firstly, we're accepting an archaeologically found date of 537 without question, but throwing out the 587 date with no specific reason to it being proven scientifically as being false. The only reason to throw it out is that it doesn't fit. The first question here is, how can you accept one scientifically found date and not another? And based on that, if you're accepting science's findings on dates, how can you still believe in all the prophecies that don't work out if the archaeological dates are correct? Tim Kilgore, signing off.
Canary in the alley by the light switch, who watches over you? Make a little birdhouse in your soul, not to put too fine a point